Right now, we're going to jump back into the Cleveland Browns conversation, maybe work in a little Super Bowl talk here with our good buddy Steve King, who has been through more coaching searches and quarterback searches and Lord knows what else with this franchise. Steve King from Browns Daily Dose joining us here on the show the day after Winter Storm Fern paid us a visit. Steve, how you doing, pal?
Good.
Good to hear from you, man. I wanted to go ahead. I was going to say I wanted to let you know as soon as we.
What you just said the other day when, or actually about 2 or 3 years ago, when Stefanski had gotten them 2 playoff appearances. I said, boy, it sure is nice. They got a quarterback and this, that, and the other, and we were not having a coaching change, and then all of a sudden just right back down into the muck again.
Yeah. Here we go again. And it appears that we're down to 2. Nathan Shieldhouse, the passing coordinator for Sean McVay with the Rams, and of course, Brown's current defensive coordinator, Jim Schwartz. Steve, before we get into those 2 candidates, and again, from what we hear, this could happen within the next 18 to 24 hours. What do you make of the process of this franchise and how they go about selecting a coach? And I'll let you run with it because I'm just not buying what they're selling here, but go ahead.
Oh, I get that. And you would have in Pittsburgh, they had a hire that you scratch your head. I'm sure the Steelers fans are thinking they just got socks, underwear, and the Jelly of the Month Club certificate when they hired, Mike McCarthy. Well, in this situation, maybe if you're a Steelers fan because of the success of the franchise, maybe grit your teeth and take it to heart, and maybe it'll work. With the way the Browns have been this whole expansion era. It's just been one situation after the other in terms of not being able to find a coach and not being able to find a quarterback. And when you can't find a coach and you can't find a quarterback and the people you pick are just a wrong fit, they're a wrong fit apart, they're a wrong fit together. And the 2 most important positions on any team are, the coach and a quarterback, and you keep missing on that. It just gets demoralizing. It just is like building a house on a very poor foundation. And until they do it right, you're always going to have the fear of, okay, what, for that next shoe to drop, what's going to happen? What's going to go haywire with it? So, the proof is in the pudding. And if they pick the right guy, then, so be it. That's great. And if they don't, then they're going to hear about it again.
Steve King, Browns Daily Dose is our guest here at 1310 WDPN. So with Schwartz and Shieldhouse, do you have a lean either way? What would be best at this point? If Shieldhouse is the guy, does Schwartz stick around to be the defensive coordinator? Take us through there if you would.
Those are all great questions. And I would love to be a fly on the wall, seriously, and hear the conversation, because I think that's where they are right now. They're at a, kind of a crossroads. Here's this guy that probably has done over a period of time, if not the best, then certainly one of the 1 or 2 best defensive coordinator performances in the history of the Browns.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, that defense the last several years has just been outstanding. It's no question about it. And you've got that, and you've got a guy who, and I wrote this, who really understands the Cleveland Browns, because he was here back in the 90s and he saw what it was when things were better, they were different, and he saw what this town was when they're winning and going through good things. And now he circles back to that, and I could make a strong case for Jim Schwartz, and I think anybody could. He gets it, and when a person goes through a head coaching or any type of job once and it doesn't work out, then you circle back and you think, okay, what went wrong? What can I do to change it? And you try to work your way back into a situation where that opportunity may present itself, and you try to sell yourself on that. And so you have that, and he's going to come back. If he would come back here, there, or anywhere as a head coach a second time, a better product. And the league has filled with those guys that failed the first time, a.k.a. Bill Belichick, and came back and did it so much better the next time.
Mm-hmm.
And so you've got that against this whiz of a young guy in Shieldhouse. And everybody just says, wow, he's got this and he's got that. And he understands quarterback. He's an offensive side of the ball. He's the Rams passing game coordinator. So you've got these two distinct 180 degrees apart guys, and you just got to figure out which way to go. And you can make a compelling case for each. You don't want to miss out on a young guy, but at the same time, you've got a guy that is proven as far as the defensive coordinator, and you want to believe that he would be able to hire an offensive staff that would, constitute and make that end of the ball, that side of the ball, competitive. So, I mean, it's a real dichotomy that they're going through right now.
Steve King is our guest. Check him out, Browns Daily Dose, on your social media platforms. Steve, if you just take a guess, how many candidates do you think, when the Browns reached out to them, said, you know what, no, I'm not interested at all, or the fact that they had interviews scheduled and then decided to cancel? I'm thinking there's got to be 6, 7, maybe 8 in that category.
Oh, no question.
At least.
Maybe even more, because when you have trouble with ownership, if you don't trust ownership, and you don't trust the general manager, and you look at the quarterback situation through the years and how it's been bungled, then that's at first glance a recipe for disaster, and maybe at second glance too. The fact that Jim Schwartz wants it really interests me.
Yes,
I think if there's one guy out there that would understand. I mean, he's watched this team now for 3 years,
mm-hmm.
whatever it's been. And so he knows everything that's right with it and everything that's wrong with it. And he would hit the ground running. Could the young guy say that? Probably not. But the young guy's going to bring in fresh ideas that maybe Schwartz wouldn't have. So it's a great discussion, and you could be right each way, you could be wrong each way. But I tell you what, that's what they pay those guys for, is to make tough decisions and to get it right. And if they don't get it right, then it's their fault. And so, you've got an opportunity here. This division is going through some change.
Oh, yeah.
Harbaugh's gone. Tomlin's gone. The Steelers don't seem to be the Steelers anymore. They're, out of character. Cincinnati's, the Bengals are the Bengals. Zach Taylor has done no better than Kevin Stefanski, probably not as well. And he still has a job and probably will until, his contract is up. So this with the young core the Browns have, if you get the right coach in there, you can find the quarterback. And I still say it's Shadur Sanders, and him going to the Pro Bowl is just backs that up. Somebody outside the organization thinks he's pretty good. Even if the organization doesn't, then you have a chance to make some big strides forward. And so, hey, look at the New England Patriots the last couple of years, and you can look at other teams that have struggled, and all of a sudden they find the right coach and the right quarterback, and everything changes. The Pittsburgh Steelers were that way for a long, long time, and then Chuck Noll and Terry Bradshaw came, and everything changed.
Steve, does it make you laugh or cry knowing that Mike Vrabel was in the building last year and on the sidelines wearing a Browns polo, and now he's with the Patriots and going to the Super Bowl? I don't think that, look, he's an alpha dog. He would have never put up with Jimmy and Dean Andrews crap. I know that. But that just drives me nuts knowing that we had a guy right here and we didn't get him.
Oh, a local guy. I mean, a greater Akron Canton area guy through and through, an Ohio State guy. I mean, he was perfect. And he would have brought the toughness. And I've said this before, and I'll say it again. Schwartz is a guy that's going to bring the toughness, the no-nonsense, accountable part of it. And when his defense did not play well, and there were not that many times, he was right out and he was very honest, as we played terribly. And Vrabel would have brought that kind of toughness. And I wrote this the other day. I would have done anything if I were Jimmy Haslam. Yeah, offer him and try to woo him. I mean, there are teams that, when they found out, John Harbaugh was available, that already had coaches that were inquiring, with his representative, hey, would his guy, Harbaugh, be interested in coming to us? We'll fire our guy. I would have been done everything that I could to try to talk him into staying, because you just knew what was going to happen when he went back to New England, and it did. He could have done the same thing with the Browns, and unfortunately he's there, and and the Browns are looking for their guy still here.
Steve, it's been a little while since the Browns did fire Kevin, and I haven't had a chance to talk with you. Did he deserve to get fired under the circumstances he was here and what he was working with? And B, how do you think he will do in Atlanta?
Well, let's ask the second part of that question first. I think he will do well. I think he, learned some things in Cleveland in terms of, how to dole out responsibility. He understands offense, and that team down there has some very good offensive players. So I think he will do well. And that division is winnable. There's no question about it. There are good teams, but not great ones in that division. So I think he has a real shot down there. We'll see. I think he will do well. My thing always was, and I will say this to my dying day, and I've heard several quote-unquote in-the-know people say the same thing. When they brought on the Deshaun Watson situation, that was not – I maintain that Kevin Stefanski had nothing to do with that.
Agreed.
Thing. And so when that thing went south, and he was held accountable for that when that wasn't his deal, that was Andrew Berry going to Jimmy Haslam, and Jimmy Haslam giving a stamp of approval, and Kevin Stefanski. There was no way that he wanted that kind of personality in his team. Nobody does. I mean, that just makes that makes your skin crawl. And so I always thought they were a team. You fire one, you keep one, you fire the other, keep the other. They were a team, and they were a match set. And the fact that you kept the guy that orchestrated all that, and you keep him because he had one good draft.
Right.
And you just write off all the other drafts that he screwed up.
Right.
You let Stefanski go, I think it's a backward way to look at it. I don't agree with that, and I never will.
I'm right there with you, partner. I think I've said it for months. He was Kevin Stefanski had two hands tied behind his back. Yeah, he made some mistakes. Sure, everybody makes mistakes at the coaching level, but I'm telling you what, that was not a good opportunity for him, especially. Look, a two-time coach of the year didn't wake up one day, Steve, and say, you know what? I forget how to coach today.
Yep. And there was no way you know that guy. Whatever you want to say about his coaching acumen, he's a good man. And you can just see the way in all those years, he never lashed out a reporter. He never did something crazy. He never was negative in any way, shape, or form. And there's no way, Sam Bourquin, and your listeners too, there's no way that he could have come home to his wife and kids and explained, I voted for that.
Mm-hmm.
There's no way. Now, you look at the man and you can tell that. It doesn't take a rocket scientist to do that. Now he paid for that with his job, and I think he will go forward, and he'll make sure that when he builds a team, Stefanski, you asked me about Stefanski. When he builds a team, he's going to make sure that they can play football and then they can behave themselves off the field, that he doesn't have to worry about crazy stuff like that, to controlling his locker room and becoming the story when you're paid to win football games.
Steve King is our guest, the Browns Daily Dose. Check him out on social media. Steve, I got about a minute to go. I'd be remiss if I didn't ask you real quickly your thoughts on Super Bowl 60, the Patriots and the Seahawks, and what could we possibly be in store out in Santa Clara, California?
As much as I like Mike Rabel and Josh McDaniels and Travion Henderson and all those guys. It's going to be an uphill battle for New England to keep up with them. I think Seattle wins, and I don't want to say they win handily, but I think they win by 10 to 12 points. And I don't see how that they lose. And the great story of all this is Sam Darnold. I wrote a story today. Sam Darnold and Shedeur Sanders, his two quarterbacks that everybody beat up. And on this day after, Darnold goes to the NFC Championship game, goes to the Super Bowl and has a wonderful performance and is put now 2 years together of great quarterback play. Shedeur Sanders gets named an AFC Pro Bowl alternate. And there's two guys that have gotten beat up, and it's their time. And I just don't think that the Patriots can stay with that. I can't think of a way they win unless Sam Darnold reversed to what he was 3 or 4 years ago, and I just don't see that happening.
Interesting. Should be fun. Steve, it was great to catch up. Now that our phones are working again, I will be reaching out to you on a more regular basis. I appreciate your candor, and we'll see how this all plays out with the Browns. Good to talk to you, my friend.
Good to talk to you. We're going to, I think, have some news here before, like you say, 18 to 24 hours. It'll be settled.
Yep, it'll be what it is. Steve, thanks.
That's
we appreciate it. Thank you, sir. There he goes. Steve King from Browns Daily Dose.